Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Board of Education meeting. The board has met in executive session, so we already did the salute to the flag in there. So at this point, we're going to have a roll call. Mr. McLaughlin.
Mr. Byrne. Ms. Shea.
Here.
Mrs. Gray.
Here.
Mr. Salmon. Here. Mrs. Blake.
Here.
Mrs. Richard.
Here.
Mrs. Bourne.
Here.
Mrs. Wolters.
Here.
Mr. Martin. Here. Mr. Sy. Here. Mrs. McCune.
Here.
Madam President.
Thank you. It's nice to see so many red shirts out there, guys. So. I just want to draw your attention to the statement of public notice before we get started. It's in your agenda. The public statement of public notice says that the meeting was advertised as per the law, and that there are 2 times for public comment. The first one is on agenda items, if you have a comment or question about something that's on the agenda. And the second time later in the meeting is public comment on any items that you'd like to ask or speak about. We ask that if you come up to the microphone, you can state your name and address, and then you can write your name and address on a clipboard after you speak. That moves things along a little better. We try to limit comments to 5 minutes because often when there's a lot of people here, we want to get through all of our regular business also. Also, the meeting is being recorded, so I just wanted to point that out. Okay, so at this point, we're up to our student representative, Maddie.
Hello. So last week, I was asked to sort of ask the student government and the general student body about three topics: academic integrity, media center purpose, and communication with students. And so every grade got back to me, and they said, number 1, about the academic integrity, they said that changing the order, the freshmen especially emphasizes changing the order of multiple choice so that it was harder to like work over to the person next to you instead of like making versions. And also just we were talking about reinforcing the policy rather than like, someone brought up that it was in the handbook, and it's always like said like, why don't we refer to the handbook to look at our academic integrity policy, but no one actually does. So maybe summarizing it and bringing it up in classes so that kids like sort of have that reinforced right when they enter the building and they like have that in their brains. And for media center purpose, all the kids just across the board are talking about how it's such a great study tool, and everyone goes there to sit down with their friends and like actually work. But the books aren't being used as much. So one of the freshmen actually suggested having, I think they said this in the meeting, stacking the bookshelves higher so there's more space for tables and like lounges for people to actually literally fit into the center and study, because that's like what it's mainly used for, but not getting rid of the books completely, because like I personally used it for art class books like about birds last week. So like they're not completely useless, but maybe just like emphasizing the study area, because that's what I'm used for. As for communication with students, everyone said that assemblies is the best and like fastest, not the fastest, but it's the best way to sort of get it out there to everyone, because everyone is forced to sit there and watch if there's something like really important you want students to hear. But also maybe tapping into student government as a medium, because we're kids that they're going to listen to our message when we post in the Facebook group chat and we tell them something. And maybe we can like take whatever message you guys give us and translate it into like teenager talk and then give it out to them, if that helps at all. If it's something quick and you just want to like say something like that instead of like the Friday folder, you can always talk to student government, because we have contact with all of our grade levels individually. And yeah, this is just the second day of A/B testing, so we're just grinding through that.
Does anyone have any questions for them? No? Thank you very much. If you have to study for an AP test or anything like that, you can. Yeah. Okay, so the board is going to go down below. We have presentations that we're very excited about, so we're going to move down there.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Drew Krause, Principal at Ridge. We have the pleasure of introducing Mr. John Brun, Mr. Tom Thorpe. They're going to do a presentation on our piloted senior internship program that we're starting this year. They actually just had a training with our students this morning. They'll get into a little bit of that. But it's a program where we're actually sending students out into the world to intern with businesses and industry and governments and things of that nature. I know this has been about 3 years in the making, and I don't want to steal their thunder for the presentation, but we're happy to have them here and look forward to what they have to say, and they put a lot of work into it. So without any further, Mr. Brown? Okay, Mr. Ford.
Good evening. Thanks for coming. A lot of red shirts, I guess. As John's hooking up his computer, this is really his baby. I have to give him a lot of credit. He doesn't like getting credit, but as Teacher of the Year, he does deserve it. As he's connecting, this whole project began, I think, around 3 years ago. We were working together, actually, an observation, and he was living in Connecticut, commuting here, which is just crazy in itself. And up in the Connecticut area, these are a big program, starship program of the big high schools in that area. So we began talking and calling principals and leaders up in those high schools, and we kind of became very interested in this whole model. We met with many of the board members who are still here to kick off this program, I think 3 years ago, some of you, right? And it's grown, and this morning was a real exciting day. We did training for our pilot students, and we go out on Monday, and so I have some packets full of board members, and I'm ready to start. Here's the guru of the internship program, John Brun.
I hope the program doesn't go like this. Good evening. Welcome, members of the board. Thank you for placing me on the Board of Education agenda. So I'm here this evening to talk to you about our Ridge Senior Internship Program. I'll probably take about 10 or 15 minutes to take you through a series of slides related to the program that we're just about ready to introduce. In terms of my goals for this evening, in general, I'll provide you with an update on the Senior Internship Program pilot. I'll share the inspiration with you for the Senior Internship, review some key milestones that we achieved between 2016 and 2019. I'll review our numbers to date in terms of participants, internship posts, and the types of internships. I'll share some of those with you. Which goes to the next bullet point, the types of internships, and then we'll talk a little bit about next steps. So I'd like to start things off with a story about the inspiration related to why I felt it was important to introduce a senior internship. Started back when I was, as Tom had mentioned, doing my crazy commute between Basking Ridge and Berrien, Connecticut. My wife had a great idea of applying for a job up there that she got, so I ended up taking the commute. My timeline in terms of getting home ended up being quite late, so we had a couple of seniors that attended Berrien High School which is the town we lived in, who would come to our home in the afternoon, and they would watch my daughter and hopefully get her homework done, which I'm not quite sure if that ever happened, but in any event, they would be there. One day I arrived home and they were both there. I think it was payday. And I said to them, you guys must be so excited about approaching the end of school and heading off to college. One was going to Michigan, the other one was going to UC Berkeley. And they said, yeah, we were really excited, but the thing that we're most excited about is our senior internship program. I said, look, what's that? So they elaborated on their senior internship program, and it just felt like something we needed to do here. And I know that we have internship programs, but the program that they described was so unique that I felt it was something that I had to serve up the chain of command and try to get implemented. So I felt that we needed to have a program where all seniors had an opportunity to participate in a 4-week internship that basically replaced going to school for the most part. It would occur after AP exams ended, and it would occur and end just prior to graduation. It would provide meaningful work experiences for many of the students, opportunities for them to get back to the communities, opportunities to try out potential careers, opportunities to potentially develop a network or maybe the beginnings of a network, figure out where their skill gaps are, and then provide lines on a resume that said they were participating in a program such as the one that we're about to implement. So to take you back in time, we did some research. We started it back in 2016 and 2017. I contacted schools in Connecticut. Those are the ones that I was most familiar with. We researched some of the schools in New Jersey, but there aren't many programs similar to the one that now is a capstone program for all the schools, or most of the schools that I'm aware of in Fairfield County, Connecticut. We communicated our findings to the Ridge High School administration at that point, and Director of Curriculum and Instruction. We presented our high-level design and thoughts about such a program to the BOECC in November of 2016 to determine whether or not the program actually had merit. We received the go-ahead to continue our research, to continue conversations with people up in the Connecticut school system, and we created the elements of our program. In 2017 and 2018, we continued conversations. We spoke to the folks at Darien High School, to the people at the high school up in Wilton. We spoke to various different high schools up there. Greenwich High School being a capstone program that's been in existence for about 23 years now. We put together our program elements, our eligibility requirements. We put together kind of a precursor to what would be called the Senior Internship Program application, and we pulled together what we thought would be a unique implementation calendar. We sought approval from the BOECC for a pilot for about 25 to 50 seniors in our initial go-around for the 2018-2019 academic year. We received approval in 2017 to conduct the pilot, and coincidentally, in conversations that we had with the folks up at Greenwich High School, they said you can't roll out a program without a piece of software that had been developed by a gentleman for over a decade in partnership with the Greenwich High School system, which actually has made my life very, very manageable. In 2018 and 19, these are just some of the things that we did this year. This academic year, we introduced the Senior Internship Program to faculty and seniors and to the Parent Advisory Committee. We solicited internship hosts. It's kind of hard to get internship hosts. We sent out emails to the Township Committee, to many of the departments in Berners Township, to all parents and all faculty. I met with internship hosts over spring break. I met with multiple internship hosts at that point. I met with hosts in the evening at Starbucks, tried to get as many internships available as possible for our seniors. We really didn't know how many seniors would actually apply. I'll segue to that in a little bit. In January through March, we sent out additional communications to parents and students. Students picked up an internship application packet. They registered on the system, and they basically were able to either select an internship or self-design an internship. And we had several students who actually self-designed an internship, about 3 of those. And then between April and soon to be June, the internships assignments were communicated to all the students. The internship training took place this morning. We spent 2 periods, about 80 minutes with 12 of our interns, one of which I met with this afternoon, 8th period, to bring them through sort of a training program that I'll share with you later. And the internships begin on Monday. They conclude on June 13th. Now that we have a field day on June 14th for seniors, and then at the end we'll conduct evaluations. So beginning Monday, after all the APs are over, students will head out. They'll work between 25 and 30 hours a week. Some weeks might be a little bit less, depending upon the schedule that we have here in school. They'll maintain a daily log of accomplishments and learning that we'll review. There'll also be a summary of all of their learning throughout the internship. They'll still have to maintain some commitments at Ridge. So if they have leadership roles or they have academic commitments that still need to be adhered to, they need to do some of those. There are sports that haven't ended in state championships and things like that. They still have to kind of work out a schedule like we all do in blending our kind of work-life balance. And then it goes without saying, abide by any of the policies and procedures at Ridge or at the businesses. All of the seniors had to achieve or adhere to some eligibility requirements, so these are some of those that are there. This is an inclusive program. It's not a program only for students that are maybe higher level achievers. As we grow the program, hopefully over time, we'll have jobs that are offered or jobs that might be opportunities for students who are interested in going into the trades. I didn't open that door this year because I, quite frankly, just didn't have the bandwidth to do it all. No one can have a grade lower than C in any course during their senior year. They have to complete all of their grade and course requirements, meet attendance requirements, make sure that they had any community service requirements, that they achieved those, and no issues with academic integrity and no suspensions during the year. So how did we do? We had 52 students pick up senior internship program applications, and at that point, I was delighted. I couldn't believe we had that level of interest. And then the numbers started to dwindle a little bit, and I got a little nervous. So about 30 students actually returned the packets. We had 23 students enrolled online. We had 18 students identify internships, 3 of which were self-designed, and we ended up with 15 students accepting internships. In terms of internship hosts, we had 15 internship hosts for a total of 17 internships. 2 of the internships actually had 2 positions. So I was inquiring or inquisitive about, well, how well did we do? So I went back and I researched how Greenwich High School did. Back in 1997, they had an enrollment of about 2,300 students. Today they have over 2,600 students. And back in 1997, they had 23 interns in year 1. Darien High School, in 2010, it was their first year of rolling out such a program, they had 27 interns. Today, Greenwich High School will send out, beginning Monday, 600 seniors. And beginning Monday, Darien High School will send out 300 seniors. So, what do our internships look like? You can see here that they're in a variety of different job categories. We have a job, architecture and construction with one of the architects in Bernardsville. We had 2 legal assistant jobs. Unfortunately, there were a few students that dropped out at the very end, and they were two of the jobs that we had that we sourced through from law firms. There's one at the Presbyterian Church in Liberty Corner. There's an accounting job. There's an equity finance and leadership consulting job. There's an asset management organization that had one internship. There's a dental care. And then GSK, GlaxoSmithKline, they have two internships. And the interesting thing about these internships is that one of the folks who's going out to work at GSK told me today that she met with the person that she would be working with or working for, and the person said, well, what are you really interested in? Because these were regulatory jobs and compliance jobs. And she told the person that she was really interested in pharmacy, being a pharmacist, and she'll be attending Rutgers in the fall. And the woman said, great, we'll have you shadow a pharmacist. Similarly, with GSK, I want to meet the person that these folks report to. Similarly, one of the students who was also working there, so there were two openings, had a conversation with a woman who actually knew her when she was a little girl. And she said, well, what are you interested in? She said, well, I'm not very interested in regulatory and compliance, but I'm very, very interested in, I know who it is, I'm very, very interested in marketing and communications. She says, well, why don't we switch that internship? And now you'll be working in the marketing and communications organization. So they're learning that doors can open based on conversations. Some of the additional internships that we have, there was one over at the Burns Municipal Building in IT. We have two internships here at Ridge with Alex Linder. We have somebody who's working on website design. We have one at the police department. Another one at a law firm that will not be filled, but the two law firms that we sourced, they said that they would love to participate again next year. We have another one that is sort of a website design and social media marketing coordinator, and then one at San John Interior. So we've got a rather robust group. If this program grows, I can't imagine the 600. You would be here until midnight. If I had to go through all of them, I promise I'll never do that. Anyway, so we did a training program this morning. Tom and Mary Ellen Peters joined us this morning. So this is sort of a litany of some of the things that we did. We said that you're ambassadors of Ridge High School. How do you dress for success? We talked a little bit about cell phone usage, their work schedule, their attendance protocol, and what they needed to do, weekly activity logs that they have to input. Safety and security at the workplace, how do I get out of this building? What if somebody's not being nice to me, et cetera, et cetera. What's your internship look like days 1 and 2 and beyond? Be on time, for example. Make friends. And then how do you conclude your internship, making sure that you're thanking the people that helped you along the way. And then we included thoughts from the Bigs. It's about Big Leagues by Ben Carpenter, the secrets you need to know about Know to Succeed Beyond High School. If you haven't read it, it's actually an excellent book. The folks at Darien High School make their interns read it. So what did the interns say at the end of their training program? They said, well, ready to go. I can't wait to begin. I'm very grateful for the internship opportunity and can't wait to start. And then this is an interesting one. One of the interns actually met with her college advisor, and her college advisor said, since you're doing an internship in high school, you don't have to start on the low-level internship jobs. We're going to move you up, and you can start at the higher level, looking at the higher-level internship jobs. So she said that she was incredibly excited about that. So what are our next steps? They begin their internships on the 20th. At the conclusion, we'll survey the interns. We'll review the intern logs. We'll do that actually weekly. We'll survey the internship hosts to see what their thoughts are, and if time permits, I'll try to gather a group of interns for maybe a one-period meeting, so a 35 or 40-minute meeting to kind of debrief and get their thoughts about what went well, maybe, and what we might potentially do differently. And then in the end, we'll summarize our findings over the summer. We'll make recommendations to the administration, to the BOECC, and hopefully we'll get an approval to make the program a little bit larger in the future. So with that, thank you very much. Are there any questions from anyone from our board members? Do we have any board member questions?
Thank you, Mrs. Brown. Thank you very much. Okay, so as we planned tonight's agenda and we talked about Mr. Brum's presentation, I was talking to our Director of Special Services, and we thought it'd be a nice time to talk about our vocational studies program as well, because we haven't presented on that in quite a while. So we have tonight with us Linda Valera and Kristen Winters-Johnson. So ladies.
Hi, thank you to the board for having us here to present a little bit about what we do at the high school program. Again, my name is Linda Valera. I'm the transition coordinator for the Comprehensive Behavior Analytic Program, and Mrs. Winters is the transition coordinator of the Vocational Studies program. So before I talk about the job sampling, I kind of have to give a little bit of background on what we do when the students come here as freshmen, because that's really when the preparation starts. So there's two programs but one mission. Our program, CBAP, that's what it's called, Comprehensive Behavior Analytic Program, serves predominantly students with autism. We utilize the principles of applied behavior analysis and all of the strategies that are under that umbrella. The Vocational Studies program serves predominantly students with learning disabilities and other cognitive impairments. We serve students from grade 9 to postgraduate, which is 21. So really, we have the students under our care from 14 through 21. Our overarching goal, and again, as I said, two programs, one mission, is for all of our adult students to be happy, independent, contributing members of their communities. That's mirrored with the goals that the parents have as well. That's really where we're striving to be. So again, coming in as freshmen, there's coursework in the vocational studies program that needs to be taken care of, requirements. Teaching is very individualized, and it will look different in each program. As I said, the CBAP program uses applied behavior analysis, which I won't go into that now because I could talk all night about that. But the program looks the same in terms of the goals. So we're teaching applied academics. So taking, English, reading a menu, reading directions, things that are needed for the real world, as we say. Functional math, consumer math, learning how to balance a checkbook, learning how to budget, learning, how to make change, money skills, all of those things. Same with functional social studies, more like your general community, and science as well. And the students also have adaptive phys ed, that's part of their requirement. In addition to these applied academic skills that are very important, we also work a lot on daily living skills. Again, we take for granted that neurotypical students of the same age are learning these skills or have learned these skills. Most of our students may not have. So domestic skills, how to take care of their environment, how to go grocery shopping, following a list, making a meal and making a recipe and buying what you need for the meal, how to go out to lunch, how to make their own meals, how to make a group meal. We also work on self-care skills, hygiene, toileting. Unfortunately, a lot of our students have significant disabilities and they do need assistance in this area, and it's our goal to really have them be as independent as possible, especially with toileting. Dressing skills, dressing for a job. I think, John Brum said, dress for success. That's really what we put the focus on all of our learners as well. They have to come when they're working, khaki pants, not sneakers, a polo shirt, or a button-down shirt. We really want them to represent themselves and represent Ridge High School. So a lot of them, that's new for them. And we work, of course, on safety skills, because that's paramount. Crossing the street, not getting into a car with a stranger, declining if someone said, hey, can I have your wallet? We want our students to be able to advocate for themselves in that way. So again, we move on and we talk about job readiness skills, interviewing skills. Again, some of my learners may have more communication difficulties, so we may not be talking about interviewing skills with them, but I know in the vocational studies program, they do a lesson or several lessons on that. Creating a resume, both programs we do that, and they just put, their job experience. And through the course of time with us, they do several different internships. Job searching, how to find a job, what you're interested in. I know the vocational studies program has career inventories where you answer questions about things you're interested in, and it kind of may point you into a particular area. Again, the learners with autism, we may not be able to do that, so we're basing our placement on parent input, what we see as what the student may enjoy, and once they're in the jobs, we can usually tell by their behavior if they like it or not. So all the skills that I mentioned so far need to be taught directly. Again, a lot of our learners, they're not picking up skills the way that their neurotypical counterparts are. So we teach them directly to mastery, and then a lot of times they need to be retaught in different environments. Again, learners with disabilities, that's a very common issue, is generalization of skills into different environments, and that's really the goal. So generalizing the skills to the community, even to their home, and then also on jobs. So after graduation, most of our students, they walk graduation at 18. They do not receive their diploma. Most stay on with us as postgraduates. They're eligible to stay in the public school system until 21. And I think almost all of them opt for that. And at that point, the focus really becomes more on the life skills and community-based instruction, and then the community-based job sampling. But it's all of this that we've done from the time they're 14 through 18 that really gets them ready for this. So one of the biggest things that we look to do for all of our learners, both programs, is increase their independence. Because they need so much help to acquire skills, someone has been with them, and it's not going to benefit them after 21 if they don't have someone with them. So we really, really work hard on fading staff support to the point where maybe it's natural support. So if the student has had a job coach in a job site, we may see if another employee can be a natural support, or we'll direct our learner to go ask someone else for help, so they would develop natural supports in these settings. One of the big buzzwords in our world is soft skills. When we talk about job training, it's almost never the job that holds the kids up. We can teach anybody just about anything. I'm not being cocky. But it's the skills that are most difficult to learn that will trip them up, and they have difficulty with that. So communication, greetings, conversation skills, answering questions. Again, these are things that many of them have mastered in school and with their instructors in school and their teachers, but presented with a new environment and new people, we may not see those skills immediately. Time management, you have a certain amount of work to get done, this is when you need to do it. Again, no one's going to be there with you after 21, keeping you on track. Job ethics, how to keep a job job, how to behave on the job. Teamwork, working together, that's, sometimes can be challenging because again, a lot of our learners have been in a one-on-one or two-one instructional setting. Social skills, interacting with novel people. We work so hard to teach conversation skills, especially with our learners with autism, and, teaching them, again, in a setting where, you might have to say hi to your boss, you're greeting your coworkers, and then if someone in the store, a patron comes up to you and asks you something or asks for help, being able to respond in some way. And problem solving. That's, again, very challenging because we can teach to lots of different situations, but there's always going to be that novel situation where we're hoping that, they're able to solve the problem or at least ask for help. So we start the kids off typically in the school buildings and in the district with jobs prior to turning 16. So if you have any jobs that you need done after you hear this, please reach out. We pick up the shredding from several different school buildings, and then the students bring it back here and they shred it. Catering for the PTO functions. The Vocational Studies program has done a fantastic job. I've seen some of the stuff that they've catered for PTO meetings, and we're taking any opportunity to help out. Projects for the parents of exceptional children, which is our parent group, the PEC. We're always willing and able to help. Sorting mail in the school offices, not just in Ridge High School, but the students have gone to other buildings and done that as well. Providing a laundry service for the athletic department, washing towels. A lot of our students wash their own clothes, their gym clothes. Copying projects, so copying, the copy staple collating type things, which there's not that many of those anymore, but we're always willing. We have a greenhouse here, it's fabulous. So the students maintain raised beds, in addition to we have an indoor greenhouse where they cultivate a lot of things. So taking care of that, cleaning it, planting, weeding, planting, watering, and then, using those vegetables to eat. Our CBAC program, the students do a lot of cooking on their own. A lot of them make their own lunch every day, so they're utilizing those vegetables, or, we will sell them at Ridge High School, so we're from seed to table and sell. And it's a great program, and it's really, it's been excellent for all the kids. Coffee cart at Ridge High School, Mount Prospect, Oak Street, and Cedar Hill. That's the vocational studies students. Best part of my day. They have a coffee cart, and they kind of go around the school. I think in one of your buildings they're stationed in one spot, but something as simple as that, it's fabulous. Our nurses, they're always out here in the nurse's office for quite a while. But it's just a way for them to get involved, and they're making change, and they're taking an order, and they're delivering the order. So all of those skills that are involved in that, but again, we take for granted that they're just going to know how to do. So we're really focusing on that while they're still in the building. Delivering items to the school. We take in-house work, so packets or mailings for any businesses in the area. We did something for Friendlies several years ago with their napkins and their kitty menus. So really, we're always looking for things, that could meaningful work for the kids to do. So if you have any ideas, reach out. So this is one of our students watering Jane's plants. She's kind enough to let us water her plants, and it's the best part of his day. And he comes back and he has conversations with the secretaries, and he tells us, they said this, and they gave me this. So it's again his first experience, and he's really, it makes him feel proud. He's doing something, he's getting into a vehicle and going somewhere else. He checks in with someone when he gets there, and he does his job, and then he leaves. This is the coffee cart, the vocational studies program, and again, this has been, they've been doing this for many, many years, and I guess in the past few years, reached out into the other schools. I think we've been at Ridge for a while, but it's a very nice way to connect with all of the staff in the building. Here's our students gardening. That's the greenhouse. We don't have a picture inside, but the raised beds outside. We have 9 raised beds where we plant vegetables. We just planted everything, so we're hoping all this rain makes them grow. So this is another student weeding. Prior to planting, we have to weed the beds and replenish the soil. And then we have some of our students selling what they've planted, or maintained. They sell out in front of Ridge High School. We have done sales to the district, so if at the holiday time we grow amaryllis and we sell them, and that's more district-wide with the smaller items and vegetables, we would keep that sort of in Ridge High School. But again, it's a really nice way for them to see the benefit of their work and what it really means to have a job and to be involved in something outside of their own classroom. Most recently, we did the favors for the PEC Gala. That's the Parents of Exceptional Children. These are seed balls, but they're in the shape of stars. It's clay and seeds, and basically you take it, you plant it, and it's supposed to grow. So we did that, and it was a really fantastic thing, and I think I have some PEC parents here. I know that they appreciated it, and it meant a lot for them to have our students taking part in their event. Okay, so now the real part, job sampling. What is it and why is it important? When we think about work, it's so much more than a job, and it really is tied into your quality of life. It's a big part of our lives. Often it defines who we are. Think about when you meet new people and you're introducing yourself, well, what do you do for a living? That's almost always within that first conversation. Not only that, it provides a social network. We as adults have our friends outside of work, but then we also have a social network at work. And that's very important, and we take for granted that we have that. Pride and self-esteem. Our students, even our students that, have very limited communication skills, we can tell when they're proud, and they are. And a financial benefit. Some of our students do go on to have paid employment. The unemployment rate among individuals with disabilities is very, very high. Just imagine the unemployment rate in general in our country is very high, and add into that having someone with a disability, it's very, very hard for them to become employed. So we need to teach them how to do it. Needing direct training on how to have a job and the skills required that are more than the job. As I said, we're very good at teaching them the actual job. That's not usually an issue. So with our community-based job sampling, students are eligible at 16 to work in the community. So from 14 to 16, they've been either at Ridge High School or working jobs in the district. It's called Structured Learning Experience. That's SLE for short. It's exposure to non-school work environments. And, Kristen's going to talk a lot about the different placements, but it's really just exposing them to different types of jobs and different sites. We're identifying job interests and abilities. It's not career training, and it's not job placement per se. It's really just having them not in school and teaching them the skills to have a job. So that can really be done anywhere because there's a lot of commonalities in most job sites. So we're looking to see, do the students prefer to be active at work or more sedentary? Do they want to be more social? Do you want to be a cashier at Rite Aid? Or do you want to be a little more isolated? Novel jobs, so doing something different every day, or more routine oriented. And a lot of our learners fall in between all of those different types of jobs, and that's what we want to see. We want to see what they gravitate towards and what they do best at. So as I said before, teaching them how to be an employee. We take for granted that their neurotypical peers are learning that as they go. Most of our students begin with volunteer, unpaid, entry-level positions. So, I talk about my nephew got a job at Jersey Mike's, and I have a student that's working at Jersey Mike's, and they're both doing the same thing. Cleaning, restocking. So that's really where our learners are starting, just like their neurotypical peers. We rotate students through several different job sites over the course of the time that they're with us, again, building their resume. What it looks like on a daily basis obviously varies. We have students that work as few as 2 days a week, some work 5 days a week, and the time that they spend at work is different, and it depends on the job and it depends on the student. And again, the level of support will also vary based on the student and also on the job site. Transportation, that has been one of our biggest challenges, and you have all been fabulous in providing us with vehicles, and Kristen will have a picture of one later. But it really just frees us up to go where we need to go. A lot of districts, they're taking buses to the community-based job sampling. We're able to take a few kids and a few job coaches to many different places. All of our staff have their commercial driver's license with school bus endorsement, which is very hard to get apparently. So that's been huge that we're able to do that. Our job coaches, as I started to talk about, they're really on the front line. So our students need support, as I said, for teaching all of these job skills on the job. So they are typically our instructional aides in our programs who work either one-on-one or 2-to-1 with students on the job site. And we fade them as appropriate. It's just so important that they be skilled and experienced because, again, they're not in a classroom with a teacher there to help them and help them navigate the situation. They're really thinking on their feet, making decisions and providing direct teaching. And we both have conversations with all of our job coaches at the beginning of the year. You are an extension of our program. You are representing Bernard Township and Ridge High School when you are in the community, and that's huge. So some of the critical skills that are addressed in job sampling, we're talking again about much more than a job. Problem solving, very difficult, especially for some of our learners with autism, to learn that in a novel setting. Social skills, again, sometimes the skills you need at work are different than the skills you need at school. At school, we want them to talk a lot and have conversations. At work, probably not. So they need to understand that distinction as well, when it's appropriate to have conversation and when it's not. Communicating with employers and community members. Endurance is huge. A lot of our learners are used to being sedentary. They're at desks, they're at tables, they're working in a school building. Sometimes it takes a lot for them to have to stand and work for longer periods of time. So that's something that we sometimes have to ease the kids in more slowly. So while we're in the school building, we have them up and working a little more than we would normally do as they're ready to go out. Delayed gratification, waiting longer before you take a break. You need to work to take your break. Independence, again, I can't stress that enough. Self-advocacy and being flexible. As we know, you can never count on things going the way they're supposed to go. So when you're in the real world, our students are facing those same challenges, and being flexible can be very difficult for some of them. Okay, and take it away.
So now comes the fun part. When you turn 16, your student is eligible to go out into the market and into the community and do some work at different job sites. Both Linda and I have our SLE certifications, and the state dictates there's certain courses that we have to take, and primarily those courses go over a safe work environment. So each student will have an SLE agreement based on where they work, and then Linda and I have to go visit the work sites on a regular schedule to make sure they're in compliance so the student is safe. Both our goal is to go into the community and build relationships with local businesses to create opportunities for job sampling. Here are some of our students. Linda had mentioned, if you're an undergrad, you go out into the field maybe once or twice a week. But once in my program, when you become a postgrad, you go out every day. So some students, they go out in the morning and in the afternoon, so they have an opportunity to work at many different job sites throughout the week based on what their interests are and what the parent would like them to experience. So here's a picture of our students. They go out daily, and our students and job coaches are driven to the work sites by a driver with a CDL license. These are just some of our highlighted areas in which some of our students work in. Jersey Mike's in Burnsville, our students stock items, replenish condiments, and do cleaning. At Brush's Deli, our students, again, sweep and stock, replenish the shelves, and do like cleaning as well. And leaf blowing. Yes. Yeah. We have students at Burger King, and at Burger King, our student is responsible for filling up the ice machine, again, replenishing all the condiments, and keeping the dining room clean. They really do rely on our student coming, so if we have a break, if the student won't be in for that week, I do need to notify them, because they're going to have to get someone in there to keep the dining room area clean. because they really do rely on our students doing this. We have students at CBS, and you see the young lady kneeling. What she's doing is she's going through all the items and looking at their expiration dates and pulling out any item that has expired. And the student on the right, she's stocking and facing, and the student lastly is stocking the shelves. We have students at the YMCA, and this young man is cleaning the locker room, and as you can see, his job coach is with him. And our goal is with all the students is eventually to fade out job coaches. Right now, his job coach is with him. And in these pictures, these individuals, the job coach is nearby, but they know the responsibility when they go in, they know the routine, and they more or less work independent. However, the job coach is very close by. The young lady to the left works in kids' corner, so she's responsible for taking care or interacting with the children while their parent is working out. The gentleman to the right, he's cleaning the pool deck, and again, they rely on our service. And the young lady in the middle, it's a kind of fun story. She's in the dance studio right here, but she started out entry level. She started out cleaning windows and worked her way up to kids' corners, so she got more exposure within the Y, and she likes to dance, and she takes dance lessons at a private facility. And one day she came up to me and she says, Mrs. Winters, I want to work and assist the dance instructor. So I went to the Y and I spoke to the gentleman, and he's like, you know what? She's earned it. Let's give it a shot. Fabulous. She's doing a remarkable job. Very remarkable job. We have students working at Basking Ridge and Burnsville Library. They sort books, shelf DVDs, and put up and take down seasonal displays. This young lady, Pet Supply Plus in Sterling, I love this because she was determined to work with animals, and we went to different veterinary hospitals, and they didn't want the liability, so we found a pet store that has reptiles, rodents, fish, cats, stuff that I'm not interested at all. And she goes there, she cleans the tank, she feeds them. You can see she's holding one of them. I don't even know what it is, but she yeah. But she loves it. She's thriving. She has her own list. Job coach is there on the side. You don't see him. She doesn't need him. She prefers no one being there, but that's not the way it is. But she has her list of things. She comes in, she gets the power back out, she cleans out all these tanks, puts in all the new bedding, new food, everything. There's